Where to begin with the micro drifters? This toy is extremely nostalgic for me. Running from 2012 to 2015, these little micro racers basically had a concept that was quite simple. Little plastic cars with a ball on the bottom that would essentially make them drift. And that was pretty much the concept. For the most part, if you threw them backwards, they would end up facing forward once they finished drifting. Somewhat. Some of the balls kind of rust over time. They even released Planes characters at one point. It really shows you how extensive this line was and how many items they released. If you guys want to see a review on the actual playsets, please let me know. There was quite a few playsets that came out at the time, including, of course, the Mega Track Pack with 2 sets included, only at Toys R Us at the time. This one had the Design and Drift Speedway and the Radiator Springs Drift Challenge. That was a easy and quick way to get 2 sets in one. And the other track set was a Tokyo playset. I'll put a picture on the screen. I do have that set. It's just in storage. I couldn't bring it out for this video because I have to look for all the pieces, but I do have it complete. And the other set is some sort of like flip speedway sort of thing. I also used to own that one as a kid. I don't have it anymore. Which brings me to the history of my history with micro drifters. I can almost say with full confidence that everyone has had a point in their life where they lose interest in cars in one way or another. And my point was shortly after these micro drifters came out. So it was around 2014, if I'm not mistaken, where I just completely lost interest in the Cars franchise and got rid of a bunch of my Cars collection. Didn't keep much at all, and the majority I ended up giving away were my micro drifters. I had every single one. The only ones I did not have as a kid were the tuners, and that was it. Apart from that, I owned every single one. As far as planes, I didn't have everything. I just had a few, but Cars was the main focus. I'm not a huge fan of these. They're a little weird. I mean, micro drifters and it's a plane. I mean, I don't think a plane should drift to begin with, but I mean, it's kind of cool. I guess they're kind of cute. But the focus here is, of course, Cars. And over the years, I've been trying to track down a way to basically retrieve my collection again. The people who own my micro drifters collection now are 2 cousins of mine who live in Mexico. I basically split the collection in half, gave one half to one and the other half to another. And one of them specifically still has everything I gave him. And every time I visit Mexico, I still see him playing with them every once in a while in his room. And you're probably asking yourself, why don't you just take them back instead of spending money buying the same thing again that your parents spent money on already? Well, first of all, yes, I do regret giving them away. It also, at the same time, is kind of trashy to give something away to someone and then take it back, if that makes sense. I don't want to do that. I'm just not that type of person to give something and then take it back. So I rather just hunt it down, pay the consequence, and hopefully get them all back. And that's what this video is about. I have retrieved the entire micro drifters collection recently from a friend on Facebook, and he was selling it for, I believe, $280. And that did not include the tracks or the 8-pack in the back. Just the case, everything you're going to see inside, Mac, and everything inside of here as well. Pretty much a good deal when you think about how much they go for on eBay nowadays in smaller lots of like 10 or less vehicles. They are selling like crazy for, I think the 3-pack sealed, some of them go for 15 to 20 bucks. So the fact I got everything for $280 plus 2 other accessories just makes you think, well, that was kind of worth it. And it's finally done and done. I don't have to worry about hunting down this collection anymore because it's all finally here. So this is the storage case. It's like a flipping sort of thing with McQueen spoiler as a handle. It's very creative. And you can pop up the little signs here from Radiator Springs. And it's kind of like a little 3D pop-up magazine sort of thing. Or like a pop-up book. And you get your little micro drifter. And it's like a little play area. You know, you go to Luigi's, you go to Ramon's, blah, blah, blah. You go to Mater's. And there was like little stickers there to kind of make it feel more alive and whatnot. Then when you're done, just bring them all back down. You got your Cars logo. And then you would press this switch. And the magic would basically happen. There it is, the entire Micro Drifters collection. We're going to go one by one and show them in detail. I won't be comparing all of them to their 155 scale counterparts. I'm mainly just going to do like McQueen and Mater just to give you an idea size-wise of what they did and what they didn't. But for the most part, these got sized pretty well. The proportions are not that bad. And I will eventually hopefully make another video, if the demand is there, racing these guys on the racetracks. I kind of organized them here by I guess like movies and numbers and whatnot. Yeah, OCD just exists in this room, unfortunately. Well, maybe that's a good thing. So at the top I have like spokesmen from the Piston Cup, the Lemons, the Spies, the World Grand Prix racers in numerical order, with the exception of Francesco and Jeff, because I feel like Jeff and Lewis just belong together. And I put Francesco at the end here because these two end slot cubbies right here are larger than the individual ones, so you can fit two, or the larger ones like that hydro fin. So I decided to put both Francescos in there instead of them taking up two individual slots. So we got Jeff, Lewis, Max, Miguel, Raul, Shu, Carla, Nigel, Rip, and of course Cesco Bernoulli at the end right there. And of course at the bottom we have the Piston Cup. So you got the King, Chick. These of course are not in numerical order, but I just feel like they deserve to be at the front of the pack. Tank Coat, Octane, Transberry, N2O, Gasket, Shiny Wax, Spearmint, and Clutch Aid. And last but not least, at the bottom we have Radiator Springs with Red, Sheriff, Doc, Sarge, Fillmore, Sally, Flo, Purple Ramon, Yellow Ramon, and Luigi. Now, there's no order really for these. I just kind of went from bigger size to smaller size. These two slots here are a lot more hollow and deeper than the other ones. So like for example, if you put Red in these two slots right here, he'll fit perfectly fine. But if you put him in one of these, he's gonna stick out and the case will not close. It'll have trouble. So I guess they made those slots for the bigger characters like Red, Mater with weapons, Funny Car Mater, Yakuza, etc. But I feel like they should have just done that for all of them, you know, instead of just having two select spots, because now you just have two awkward spots stuck at the bottom and then two large spots there. It's a little weird, but for the most part you accommodate the entire Micro Drifters collection if you have this case and the Mac case. And of course they made two rapid fire launchers with Francesco and McQueen designs. I didn't have the Francesco one. I think I just had McQueen, but that's something else I want to track down one day. But again, the whole point of this video is the Micro Drifters themselves, not accessories. So yeah, that's basically everyone in here. You can see them all there in detail. Just kind of go and show everyone off there. They're in pretty decent shape. Some of them do have some bumps here and there, some paint coming off. I think the worst one is Francesco, and I tried looking for a replacement on eBay. He is $40 in package, and no one's selling a loose one from what I've last checked. But this is the one that definitely just needs the replacing very, very soon. And the worst part is, when I did own that Francesco, I had him mint, and now I have a extremely beat up version I regret giving away. I think Jeff here is one of my best ones. The ball has not rusted at all compared to, like, let's say Nigel here. Oh, Nigel's is pretty good too. You start noticing who had more play. Like Francesco's is extremely dull. You can see right there. I don't remember off the top of my head who else had an extremely dull one. I'm going to guess maybe Sally. Yeah, Sally has a pretty dull one too. She has something there in the mouth too, like a little scratch on the tooth. So might have to replace that one as well. Here we have the Mac Transporter. And you can detach this. And he is a Micro Drifter himself. And it works decent. Somewhat. I mean, it's got that huge ball in the bottom. And I think they should have put another ball right here and not kept it hollow. It's just a little weird. The wheels do not spin on any of these, I should note. None of them spin. It is just the simple ball at the bottom that does all the spinning. Copyright Mattel, made in China, Disney, and Pixar. And they have pretty good detail. The unfortunate part is, though, that most of them are, in fact, stickers. But let's go ahead and take a look at the hauler here. You got this clear panel with a 95 bolt in a frost sort of color. Looks really, really cool. It is based on the Hudson Hornet Piston Cup McQueen. Ironically, they didn't make a Hudson Hornet Piston Cup McQueen micro drifter, but they made the hauler, which kind of sucks. I feel like you could have put him in here. And yeah, I love the look of this. It looks really, really cool. One of my favorite McQueen paint jobs for sure. It's a weird looking piece. It's an extremely thin hauler compared to the thickness of a normal Mac hauler. But it gets the job done. You have 3 levels for storage. The only thing I'm not a big fan of with everyone in here is that everyone fits extremely, extremely awkwardly. I mean, you kind of saw how Funny Car Mater was in there just now. I mean, this whole thing is just denting downwards because everyone is kind of just forced in there. That's the kind of unfortunate part. Just a lot of huge minis that don't fit in the carry case either. Like this Mater right here is different to the classic one that you can get anywhere. At the time, you know, when the micro drifters first started, they made them a lot wider, or taller, I should say. A lot more movie accurate in my opinion, because the first Mater they released is extremely squashed down. And then when you put him next to Lightning McQueen, he's like nearly the same height as Mater, and that's just not right. And I feel like Mattel probably took note of that because this is the size you're supposed to be working with. This is a movie accurate size. Mater is taller than McQueen. Obviously, you got an extremely big tow truck compared to a sleek NASCAR racer. Obviously, there needs to be a height difference, and that original mini Mater did not do that. And then they came out with this one with the weapons. Boom. They fixed it. Problem solved. Back to a somewhat decent height difference. They never released this Mater, though, as a classic version, only with the weapons, as far as I know. And the exclusive 8-pack from Toys R Us had Race Team Mater. You can see the tiny little 95 in there. Only released in this set. And everyone else was a metallic counterpart of other World Grand Prix racers. I don't know what the thought process was in choosing these specific cars, but you have Raul, Miguel, Shu, McQueen, Max, Nigel, Jeff, and of course Mater, which was a little weird. I would have rathered Francesco, but oh well. And then on the back of the packaging of that, you just had an image of more of the micro drifters, little CGI render, and more sets. So yeah, these did have different packaging variations. This was the last logo they had really before the line died out, is that little like CGI picture. But when they first started out, they had this like sketchbook sort of look. Actually, they made it look more like anime now that I think about it. Funny Car Mater. It's crazy, but again, it's extremely hard to fit them in the cases here. Guido right here is an extremely underrated one. He is in scale with the mini racers, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, that reminds me. I do have a McQueen here with me, so I can compare it real quick. Yeah, I would say that's in scale. They have not done a mini racer Guido in metal. They've done a plastic one in a Cars on the Go play set. They made one of McQueen, one of Mater, and one of Ivy back when Cars on the Road came out. But the Guido in that set, I'll probably put a picture somewhere on the screen. That Guido was plastic, and I don't have that little Guido anymore, or that little set. I think I might have sold it because I just didn't have a use for it. But I'm pretty sure it's the exact same size as this little guy. So I much rather have the micro drifter, in my opinion, because at least this one can roll around, I think. Kind of. Not really. Mattel, I don't know what you're waiting for, but Mini Racer Guido is extremely long overdue. We have like the Radiator Springs Lightning McQueen. This one's a little beat up. Oh yeah, the ball's extremely rusted down there. I don't think it's even gonna roll properly. It kind of does. It just doesn't land forward. Kind of does. Not really. Compared to this guy with a crystal clear ball, let's see how he rolls. A little bit better. Kind of. It really just depends, really, what you're working with. I mean, here's Mater. Yeah, these were cool. This was my iPad when I was younger. I mean, this was what I would play with. I would play with these for hours, man. I mean, these were the best thing ever. Oh, Snot Rod's pretty good. Yeah, so there also was this golden Lightning McQueen. This guy looks phenomenal. Mattel never made a Golden Cars 1 McQueen. They made Cruising McQueen, and there's factory customs of something similar to this. But this is the only official Cars 1 Gold McQueen to my knowledge. DJ, Kabuto, Yakoza, Wingo, Boost. Where's Snotrod? I mean, look at that. All the tuners, man. That looks incredible. We still don't have Boost as a mini racer, sorry. I confuse the names a lot. Don't have these two guys either yet. We barely got Wingo as of recently. It's taken forever. And there's the hauler empty. Another plus side to that hauler is it was a launcher. So if you put a vehicle in there, and if it rolled down to the ramp there, you flick this yellow switch, rolls on down to the launcher, and then you flick it again, shoots right out. Sometimes. Old toys, they don't work that well anymore. You know how it is. They've had their fair share of play. But doing stuff like this, man, it takes me back. It really does. Oh, man. I mean, I'm having fun with this. I know it's a... Oh, he drifted really cool. Let me see if I can catch that again. Oh, yeah, that's cool. No wonder they're imports. I mean, look at how beautifully they swing around. Oh, that was nice. Yeah, that one drifts really clean, too. Snotrod. Yeah. I like that. All the detail that went into these is fantastic. They look amazing. I love them. And I'm just so happy to have them again. The lemons, these are really cool. Professor Z as well. Mind you, though, there's no little like eyeglass. I think it's a monocle. That's what it's called. I think there is a variant, though, with the monocle. I would have to do a little bit more research on that. Brett Mustang Burger. Without the headset or anything. That one's pretty cool. Daryl Car Trip. Mario Andretti of all cars. Holly, Rod, and Finn. Hydro Fenwick Missile. This one's a weird and wacky one. Let's see how this one even drifts. I don't think it's going to do that well. It's kind of decent, kind of weird. Jeff Gorvette. Lewis Hamilton. There was a point also where they were selling the 155 scale counterparts with a mini replica inside. I'll put a picture somewhere on the screen, but those were pretty cool as well. I want to hopefully get some of those one day. I don't think they made too many. I think they probably just did, if memory serves me right, McQueen from Cars 1, Jeff Gorvette, maybe Max, Nigel. Who else did they do? I think there's one more. I think it might have been Raul. I think they did Francesco. Check that out. Yeah, they look fantastic. For shits and giggles, I guess we'll do all the Piston Cup racers at the same time. We'll try recreating the Cars 1 crash. Let me get Lightning McQueen in there. I think the best ones ended up being these three. Let's have a little race with those three. This guy won. So much fun. How can you hate these? How could I forget this iconic piece right here? The Colossus XXL for these guys. Oh, you would have to dump them out. I don't really remember how this works. And there it is. Every micro drifter ever, as far as the singles go, not counting the metallics. If you'd like to take a picture of that and use it as a checklist, you're more than welcome to. Kind of go down here so you can see all of those individually in more detail. There are all of those from Cars 1, and there's the majority from Cars 2. And of course, this one isn't hard to understand, but you basically get all of these in one go. There's no other way to get these 8. So that right there is pretty much everyone. And I guess a random little Dusty in the background there. But that essentially wraps it off here. Let me know if you had any of these growing up and what your fondest memory of these were. Piston Cup Productions signing out, and I hope you guys enjoyed.